Hello, everyone. Welcome to our second Discover Day of the 2025-26 application cycle. We're pleased that you decided to spend a part of your morning, evening, or afternoon with us, as we know that several of you have tuned in from different time zones and regions across the globe. My name is Niguel Walker. I'm a recent graduate of the University of Toronto, and I spent my 4 years studying exclusively at the Mississauga campus, which is fondly called UTM. Today, Salman Hafizi, one of our recruitment and admissions officers at UTM, will be moderating our comments or chat window. Let me encourage you to drum up conversations with your fellow applicants, as it is not too early to start establishing meaningful connections. So feel free to say hello and introduce yourselves. Before I lay out our informal agenda for this event, I would like to make special mention of our one-man technical team. Tonight's event would not be possible without our communications assistant, Austin Sherman. So thank you, Austin, for always being dependable and for using your expertise to execute today's webinar. The aim of this session is to introduce you to the University of Toronto, Mississauga, and provide a short virtual tour of our beautiful, expansive campus, throughout which I will highlight a few spaces where I spend a considerable amount of my time throughout my journey as an undergraduate student. Should you have any questions throughout the presentation, kindly place them in the chat or comment section, as someone will be responding to those as we progress throughout the evening. In the end, there will be a Q&A period. Feel free to include follow-up inquiries, and we will answer questions live so that everyone gets the benefit from the responses. And please, don't be shy with your questions. The point of this presentation is to really engage with and help future students. Our aim is to facilitate a smooth transition from your respective institutions to our vibrant UTM community, as well as our larger U of T family. Before I commence the presentation, I would like to seize the opportunity to do a personalized land acknowledgement as we share our spaces with different Indigenous communities. As an immigrant who has had the privilege of studying, working, and living on this land, which has been the traditional land and home of many for thousands of years, namely the Huron-Wendat, the Seneca, and the Mississaugas of the Credit, I am deeply grateful. Today, this meeting place is still the home to many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island, so I deem it an honor to be granted the opportunity to acknowledge them and to pay respect to their land. Moreover, as a representative of the University of Toronto, I am thankful that we get to operate our university in this precious space. Let us first situate UTM in the broader U of T community. The University of Toronto is one university with 3 campuses. We would like to assure you that regardless of where you study, you will still be receiving the same top quality education, and you will have access to all the resources the university has to offer. U of T is Canada's largest and highest ranked university. Our St. George campus, located in downtown Toronto, was founded in 1827, and since then we have expanded by establishing our Mississauga campus to the west and our Scarborough campus to the east. UTM is the second largest campus by population, and we're about a 40-minute drive from St. George. Now, I would like to invite you to discover U of T Mississauga with me. Here is a quick overview of UTM by the numbers. At UTM, students can select their programs from 13 exciting admissions categories with over 90 areas of study, which allow for more than 180 academic programs. This gives students the opportunity to build and personalize their degrees to their interests and values. Some of our more renowned programs include forensic science, commerce, management, theater and drama, life sciences, as well as communications, culture, information, and technology. With over 17,000 undergraduate students, UTM's diversity and variety expand beyond our academic offerings. Our students have a vast array of skills that they use within our various offices, facilities, and student spaces on campus. Approximately 12,800 of our students are from different regions across Canada, and about 4,500 are international students, representing more than 130 different countries across the globe. Moreover, UTM has an impressive alumni network, of which I'm proudly a member, of more than 75,000 who live and occupy professional spaces in more than 110 countries. So a U of T degree can really take you anywhere. Finally, UTM has various graduate programs with or more than 900 graduate students serving in various capacities as teaching assistants and interim professors. Now, a number of you might still be wondering why UTM might be a great fit for you. And you know what? That's fair. Follow me as we explore a few of those reasons. U of T provides students with a world-class learning experience that sets them up for success as they transition from our halls to the working world. Students also have the opportunity to engage in groundbreaking research alongside or world-renowned faculty from as early as their second year. As a result, UTM is regarded globally amongst the top 5 business incubators that is managed by a university. And of course, our #1 ranking in Canada for alumni employability. UTM is strategically located, is the second reason. UTM is strategically located in the second largest city in the Greater Toronto area, with several diverse neighborhoods showcasing their own culture and diversity. The following key areas are also in close proximity to our campus, which provides several exploratory opportunities for hands-on learning and personal development to our students. These locations include the Toronto Pearson International Airport, the Square One Shopping Center, as well as the headquarters for about 75 Fortune 500 companies. Thirdly, UTM is also known as the natural choice. The campus itself is located on over 225 acres of protected green space. And you know what? This is probably my main reason for having chosen U of T Mississauga. We have some amazing nature trails here on campus that I highly recommend that you visit once you start as a student. What I love about our campus is that the natural environment and the big, beautiful buildings coexist in such harmony. It's hard not to like this place, and that explains why I'm still here even after having graduated. Finally, at UTM and within the wider U of T community, we embrace and support each other. We have a wide array of services and programs to ensure that our students never have to figure things out on their own. So when you join our vibrant community, please take advantage of all we offer. Thank you for sticking with me throughout the first half of the presentation. Now, buckle your seatbelts and let's go on tour. Our first stop, before we go into our first stop, I would like to introduce you to myself a little bit more. So on the left, you will see a photograph of myself holding a sword. That was my 10 seconds of theater and drama studies feature. And in that moment, I was very happy, as you can see the wide grin on my face. And yes, in another life, I would definitely do TDS. But throughout my time at UTM, I focused my studies on biology for health sciences and chemistry, but it did not start there. When I applied to first year, I applied as a forensic sciences student. And then at the end of my first year, I decided to opt for biology for health sciences major and a chemistry major. As you can see from the top middle photograph, I am the quintessential biology student. So I was depicted here in one of our laboratory sessions for a fourth year biology course that I did entitled Laboratory in Animal Physiology. Here I am dissecting an earthworm to monitor the electrical signals that correspond to the contraction of the organism's digestive system, the crop and gizzard. I know it looks like I've broken one of our sacred lab rules, which is always wear gloves, but we were exempted from adhering to those rules throughout these labs due to the small size of our specimen. You can also see me photographed beside the Students' Union mascot, the blind duck. This was during orientation week in 2022, during which I was an orientation leader, and most of my froshes will be preparing for graduation at the end of this academic year. Finally, I have held a number of positions related to fitness and wellness. And so here in the bottom photograph, you can see me cueing one of my participants as they prepare for their first exercise for our workout of the day. And that's just a tiny introduction to me. Now we're going to start our tour in the Connect Center and Innovation Complex. Okay, or Connect Center. Quick facts about this building. The Connect Center was originally built in 1992 and expanded with the Innovation Complex in 2014. This building is home to the Commerce, Management, and Economics programs. The Office of Student Recruitment and Admissions, the office in which I work, operates within the Office of the Registrar and is located in the CANF building. We also have the Blackwood Gallery, which is responsible for adorning our campus with beautiful works of art like the one depicted in the middle photo. Finally, the Myway Transit that UTM students get to access for free also has a bus stop adjacent to this building. If you look at the bottom photograph on the left, just shaded by the trees in yellow would be the Myway bus stop. As UTM students, you might access these buildings fairly regularly as you visit the Office of the Registrar to have your questions answered and seek academic and financial advising. Now, let's head over to the Davis Center, our next stop on the tour. One of the cool features of this building is that it has an underground tunnel that connects it to the CANF Center, which is super convenient during colder months. This building is our oldest and largest building on campus, and at the end of the tunnel that I mentioned, you will find our Health and Counseling Center. Here you can obtain medical appointments for physical and mental health, nutritional counseling, and health education, all of which is covered by OHIP for domestic students and UHIP for international students. 4 years ago, the HCC helped me get into yoga, and today I'm a very strong embracer of the practice. Another important location for many students in the Davis building is the bookstore. Here, you can purchase course materials from textbooks to lab coats to calculators. Our bookstore also offers lots of cool U of T merch, and we've had notable partnerships with October's very own, Drake's Brand, and Lululemon. On the upper level of Davis, you will find our newly renovated food court. If you have a dietary restriction or you are very particular about your food, there's a wide range of food options around campus that can support your dietary requirements. Some of our more familiar restaurants on campus would include Tim Hortons, Harvey's, and Thai Express. Some of the food found in our cafeteria is actually grown at a greenhouse here on campus. We also have beehives where we harvest honey which is also used in the cafeteria. The Davis Building also holds various large lecture halls and is home to a first-year biology and anthropology labs. You will also find the departments of anthropology, earth sciences, biology, chemistry, and physics. Other offices such as the International Education Center and the Career Center operate within the Davis Building through our Student Services Hub, a one-stop shop for all your student needs. Connected to the Davis Building is the Recreation, Athletics, and Wellness Center, which will be our next stop on this virtual tour. So far, we've spoken about 3 buildings, all of which are connected. So that's fairly common on this campus. And this makes it very easy for students during the wintertime so they can avoid the cold, ice, and slush. At the Recreation, Athletics, and Wellness Center, which is fondly called ROC, and after which our UTM mascot, Rocky, is also named, you will find our state-of-the-art fitness facility with its own indoor running track, various gymnasiums, weight rooms, and our Olympic-grade swimming pool. The ROC also runs various drop-in sports sessions, which are available to all UTM students, regardless of athletic ability. And I'm an instructor of at least 2 of those sessions, so it is for everybody. We also offer women's-only drop-in sessions. This is one of the places where I work on campus. This is another of the places that I work on campus and spend quite a bit of my time. Next, we'll move on to the CCT building. For our curious minds, which I imagine is all of you, CCT stands for Communications, Culture, and Technology. This building is home to the Institute of Communication, Culture, Information, and Technology. CCT 1080, one of our largest lecture halls on campus that seats about 500 students, is also located in this building. In this building, you will also find the IT desk. Here, you can pick up your student card as well as get help with technical issues on your devices. I've personally gone to the IT booth on various occasions, and the staff there are always a huge help, and they're very persistent to get to the root of your technical issues. Luckily, there is also a tunnel that connects this building to our next stop, which is our library. The UTM Library, which is formally called the Hazel McCallion Academic Learning Center, is named after Mississauga's former and longest-running mayor, Hazel McCallion. This building was opened in 2007. The library has Canada's largest video game archive, the Sid Bolton Collection. The University of Toronto has over 44 libraries, making it the 3rd largest library system in North America. The library is one of the most popular study spots for students, with over 150 computer workstations, 1,000 study spaces, and 19 bookable group study rooms. The library has a team of librarians and research specialists who work with students at the reference and research desk for assignment assistance. The circulation desk is also able to loan out library books and some other materials for students, such as laptops, chargers, and calculators. So when you start studying, if you ever forget any of your essentials, you can always pop by the library and they'll be happy to help. Right next to the library, we have the instructional center, which is our next stop. The Instructional Center was opened in 2007 and was constructed with durable and local building materials that were made primarily of renewable or recycled content. This building exclusively features classrooms and study spaces. You'll never hear anybody say Instructional Center, though. This building is fondly known as IB within the U of T community. This is also one of our busiest buildings on the UTM campus. This is where the UTM shuttle bus picks up and drops off students going to and from the UTM and the downtown St. George campuses. Some students use this shuttle to get to and from classes between the two campuses to cut down on their commute or to explore downtown Toronto for free. And yes, it is free for all UTM students. There are tons of study spaces here too, with quiet zones for individual studying, or private study rooms for 4 or more people. Now, we're going to head over to a very special place, one of our newer buildings, which many students call MN. Manjiwan and Damoinan is an indigenous name meaning gathering of minds, which reflects both the indigenous history of the land and the future of the campus. It unofficially opened in 2018 and is home to various active learning classrooms. This building is also home to the departments of Political Science and Sociology, the Robert Gillespie Academic Skills Center, which is where students can go to access great resources and they will help you with any sort of academic challenges that you're facing. This is my favorite building on campus, though I did not have many classes here. This is probably the building that helped me to decide on UTM as my top choice. This building is home to Community on Campus, an affiliate of Living Mississauga, which offers support to members of our wider Mississauga community who have learning disabilities. I had the privilege of volunteering with this organization, and that is why I've decided to mention it. Now, we're going to talk about Deerfield Hall, which is connected to the MN building. Deerfield Hall was opened in 2014. And of course, this building was given that name because we often see deer across campus, especially during the winter. This building is home to the departments of Theatre and Drama Studies, Mathematical and Computational Sciences, Psychology, English, and Philosophy. On the second floor of this building, we have the Math Learning Center, where students can get free math help, a resource that I used in my first year. As a coffee lover, another thing about this building is that we have one of our 2 Starbucks locations here. I always feel like I needed a dose of strong black coffee throughout undergrad, so this was one of my favorite spots. Now we'll head to a final stop, or student center. The Student Center was opened in the 1990s and is home to many of UTM's student clubs. The UTM Students Union, also known as the UTMSU, is located here. They support all of our undergraduate students on campus by advocating for student rights, providing essential services, and creating meaningful events. If you decide to come to campus, they will be running your orientation week, which is jam-packed with tons of fun activities. However, they also host events for all students throughout the year. They run our on-campus pub or restaurant called the Blind Duck, and yes, there are pool tables located here as well if you're looking for a fun activity to do with friends on campus between classes. We also have a chat time in the student center where students can get their bubble tea. This building also has spaces for various student organizations and programs, such as our food center, or local radio station, and other student societies and clubs. Lastly, the Students' Union operates our campus convenience store called the Duck Stop, where you can buy chips, cookies, and other sweet treats. Oh, how could I forget our very own UTM honey, which we collect from our apiary on the roof of the IB building. Fellow discoverers, we have concluded our tour. Thank you again for joining us for this virtual visit around the University of Toronto, Mississauga. If you have any questions about programs, admissions, scholarships, or anything related to my own student experience, you're welcome to put some questions in the chat, and I will do my best to answer them. Just a reminder, these questions will be highlighted for all to see as we respond to them live. Okay, our first question, did anyone get offer yet? So we are still in the midst of the application cycle. The application deadline is January 15. What that means is we won't start reviewing applications until January. During January, we'll start focusing on applicants who would have applied by November 7th, which is our early consideration deadline. Thank you guys for your questions. So I am a permanent resident that finished high school from outside of Canada and US. Am I considered an international student or domestic student? So if you have Canadian citizenship, right, then you're able to apply as a domestic student. But if you would like to have more clarity on that, feel free to reach out to our officers within the Student Recruitment and Admissions Office, and we will try to review your specific case and provide a more conclusive response, as that varies from individual to individual. Next question. Does the University of Toronto Mississauga Psychological and Brain Sciences program require any supplementary applications? So that particular program category is only looking for grades from students. So admission to that program will be solely based on academic performance. But we love to encourage students to continue to access the various extracurricular activities that they would have been participating in, to continue to volunteer in their various groups, and to engage with their communities as they gain skills that they could talk about on other applications, for example, scholarship applications. Or maybe when you start at UTM, you would like to work and study. Through our work-study program, you'd be able to leverage those skills, and being able to juggle extracurriculars and your studies is setting you up to handle the workload that comes with post-secondary education. Does UTM take recommendation letters? So we don't request that applicants submit recommendation letters. If such a request were to be made, it would be highlighted on your individualized personal application portal. And we encourage students to only submit documents that are requested by your office, as providing more documents might delay your application. Okay? Thank you for your questions. See another one here. Does applying early give you more advantage than late application submission? So when you apply by or early consideration deadline, you permit your application to be reviewed in January. If you apply after that date, then your application won't be considered in that first round. Whilst we won't say that it gives you more advantage, it allows for your application to be reviewed multiple times. And there's a benefit to that. Because when we review your application, if we're not able to make an offer, we won't throw it out. We'll retire it for that revision round. And then when we get to the next round, we'll look at your application again. If you submit after that early application deadline, you are already forfeiting the January round of consideration. It also gives you more time to work on putting the rest of your application together, as there are more than one steps to completing your U of T application. Thank you for your question, Michael. Is there any way I can get a scholarship after I get admission? And how do I gain a scholarship if my application for a scholarship fails? So we have a number of scholarships that students are able to gain based on their academic performance. These scholarships are called merit-based scholarships, and they're automatic. What that means is students do not get the opportunity to submit applications for these scholarships. They're automatically awarded based on the consistency and strength of your academic performance. Now, we have a number of scholarships for which students might be eligible based on various things that they would have done throughout high school. So if there is a specific set of skills that you would have garnered through various extracurricular activities, or like I mentioned earlier, you volunteered with a community, you could talk about those skills on what is called the awards profile, which you will find on your individualized applicant portal. What we'll do with that information, we'll review it to see what you would have done throughout your time in high school. And then based on what you've done, we'll try to identify scholarships that you might be eligible for and submit applications on your behalf. Moving on to our next question. Hi, at U of T Mississauga, future students. I had an education in Canada for 3 years and was educated before that in the US. Do I need to take an English language proficiency test like the IELTS? So if you've been studying in an English-speaking country for at least 4 years, then you would be able to apply for the English language facility exemption. Now, if English is your first language, then there will be no need for you to prove your English competency. If you would like to get a bit more details for your specific case, feel free to reach out to our office and outline the specific circumstances for your application. Next question. What would you say is the range of a competitive average for computer science? So the minimum requirement for computer science at UTM is mid to high 80s, right? So that's the grade that you require for your application to be considered. So I would say aim for the higher echelon of the 80s, and maybe you'll land in the 90s, and that will give you a more competitive application. We don't have a magic number. Moving on to the next question. What are the normal cutoff for awards like the Scholars Program or President's Award of Excellence? So these awards are given to students who would have demonstrated consistent, strong performance in their academics. Usually it's for students who would have achieved averages in the 90s range. And if you achieve averages above 95, then you might be eligible for more than one of these awards. Will students from one faculty be able to take classes outside of this faculty? So whenever you apply to a program category at UTM. In your first year, you will have a general first year. At the end of that first year, you will have to declare what programs of study you would like to pursue. As a second year student, you're not limited to studying only programs that are classified under the program category to which you would have applied in your first year. There's lots of flexibility. I know a number of students who would have changed their programs multiple times throughout their journeys at UTM. We understand that students want to do what they're interested in and what aligns with their value. So if you get to a point where you feel like you need to change your course of study or your program of study rather, then that opportunity will be available to you. U of T is all about flexibility for students. What is the normal cutoff point in grades to gain a scholarship? I believe I already answered this one, so I will refer you to the recording of this session. For mathematics major, is it true only grades will be taken into consideration? So yes, our mathematics program does not require any supplemental application from students. Admission to this program category is only based on academic performance. Whenever you're required to submit anything outside of your grades, that will be noted on your individualized Join U of T portal. You'll see exactly what your steps are, what documents are required for us to process your application. And you'll find on that portal as well your residence application and or U of T financial aid application. Moving on. Hi, sorry, I also had a question about interim transcripts and report. What if we don't get our midterm grades until January? Could I still submit a report card with my grades for the first quarter? So just so you know, we don't request students to submit official documents or grades on their own. If on your portal you're required to upload an interim or unofficial transcript, then whatever you have in your possession at this time, go ahead and upload it. If it doesn't fulfill the condition on the portal, then you will be notified of that, okay? Official documents are submitted through your school. Some of you would probably have to make that request on your own, especially for international students. Does our transcripts count as official when our school send it to U of T's admissions office, or do we still need to use outreach for sending it? So as long as that document is sent from your school, if it's enclosed in an envelope and it's sealed, then it will be considered an official document. Note, I mentioned the word sealed. Ensure that whatever physical documents are being submitted by your school, it is submitted in a sealed envelope. Feel free to consult the link that is being shown at the bottom of your screen for specific instructions about submitting official documents to the University of Toronto. So we have our life sciences program does not ask for any supplemental applications. Admission to this program is solely based on academic performance. But I will reiterate, not because it doesn't ask for a supplemental application, that does not mean that whatever activities you're involved in at school at this point, you should stop doing those activities. Participating in extracurriculars, volunteering with various groups, and engaging your community are key skills that you'll be able to leverage once you become a part of the UTM community. I also mentioned that there are scholarships that you could access through talking about these experiences that you've had throughout your high school experience. Next question from IQ Tim, if there is no supplementary application, is there no place where we can upload additional documents? I will reiterate, if you're not required to submit a supplementary application or aren't asked for a specific set of documents, do not submit documents that we do not request. Submitting additional documents will only add to the time that we will require to process your application. That means the decision on your application could be delayed because you've submitted an excess number of documents. How much are the parking passes at the campus? I don't know the numbers off the top of my head. We have a number of different parking lots. Different lots ask for different rates. We have shared parking spaces where uh, students who do carpool are able to access. We have various parking structures underground. Some are exposed to the elements. So the cost that you will pay for parking will depend on which of the parking lots you opt to select. You're welcome to visit UTM Parking, and there you will find a breakdown of the various costs. Is the campus isolated? Yes. And that's one of the things that I love about UTM. It's not in the midst of a busy city, which means that when I'm on campus, I can have quiet spaces to study. It's not busy all the time. And UTM rather, is a much smaller community compared to our downtown campus, for example, or St. George campus. What that means is you get to see the same set of people multiple times throughout the day. The isolation of this campus also means there are lots of bird species around. You'll find Canadian geese on campus. You'll find deer on campus. And you'll find really nice nature pockets that are undisturbed. We also have a neighboring park, which a lot of students like to frequent. I have applied to the university by the 7th of November. Well, when will I be informed of the supplementary documents needed? So if you would have applied to UTM by the early consideration deadline, by this time, you would have already received an email acknowledging your U of T application. And in that email, you would have been provided with a join ID and temporary password to gain access to your individualized, personalized Join U of T portal. On that portal, all documents that are required are listed. All the necessary steps that you must complete for your application to be assessed will also be noted. And I mentioned earlier that if you have an interest in living on res, you'll find your residence application there as well. And a note, all first-year students do have a residence guarantee. Our only request is that you indicate that interest by March 31st of 2026. At that point, we won't request any payment, and it won't be a locked-in decision, so you can always change your mind. So check that portal regularly, as all updates are posted there, and any documents that we might require, again, will be mentioned there. When would you find out if you're being offered scholarships? At the same time as offer of admission? Yes. So usually when you're issued your letter stating that you have an offer for admission, a scholarship letter would also be enclosed. Next question, what advice would you share with a motivated student who wants to make the most of their first year at UTM? This is what I say. Keep an open mind. You'll meet people from different regions across the world. You'll hear languages you've probably never heard before. You'll see food you've probably never had before. Be open-minded, interact with people, get to know different regions across the world, interact with our International Education Center, access all the programs and initiatives that you would have the time to access based on what you'll be studying, your course load, as well as your other responsibilities, but access as much as you can from your first year. Get to know people, establish connections. There are a number of students from UTM who would have met their lifelong friends here, and maybe that could be you, but you have to be open-minded, okay? Hi, if I was rejected during early application, can I apply again in the late round? So students aren't allowed to apply more than once, okay? So when you submit your application, you won't be allowed to apply again. If when we review your application, we're not able to make a decision, then what we'll do, we'll retire your application for that round of revision. And then when we get to the subsequent round, we'll have a look at your application again to see if we have any extra grades or if there are any circumstances that have changed surrounding your application that would allow us to make an offer. So you can hear from us anytime from January to May, okay? So If you're not given an offer, you won't be allowed to apply again. Do you know when we can expect to hear back with early applications? So the applications of those folks who would have applied by November 7th will be reviewed in January. If we have enough information to give you an offer, then you might hear back from us in late January into February. If you don't hear back from us, that means we're still reviewing your application. We don't have enough information to make a decision, so don't panic. Just wait on us to get back to you. I have sent my U of T application and my Lester B. Pearson scholarship application. What do I do now? So all the steps that you will need to follow going forward will be noted on your Join U of T portal. So my advice to you is to check that portal regularly. Don't do it on a daily basis like I did when I applied. That's not healthy, okay? Word of caution, don't do that. So check your portal regularly, check your emails regularly, ensure you're able to access your emails so that whatever updates are available for your application, you're able to see them. What is a competitive score for an IB student applying for economics and political science? So if you visit our future.utoronto.ca website, you will see what the requirements are for students belonging to different curricula. So I invite you to visit future.utoronto.ca and then look for the specific requirements for the IB curriculum. I already applied for CCIT probably like 3 weeks ago. So when should I most probably expect to get the offer letter and thanks? So we start reviewing applications in January. So if there is an offer for you, you can hear anytime from January to May. We just ask that students bear with us as we review each application individually and make decisions as we move forward. Next question. My final report card is not available yet, so technically I wasn't able to send all the documents by the expected time. I sent everything that I could, but this one is missing. Is this going to affect my chances? So if your final transcript is not yet available, you have an opportunity to indicate that. You can always reach our office by telephone or email. And if there are special recommendations that need to be considered for your application, then you can indicate those on our special consideration form. And just a reminder, official documents are not accepted from students. They must be sent from your institution. I invite you to consult our document submission website, which is being linked on the screen below. I already reviewed that one. Does everyone get the friendly reminder to submit all required documents by December 2, or just applicants who are missing documents in the portal? And also, how do you know if documents are processed? So when you apply, if we require any documents, then yes, you will get a reminder. The reminder you're getting for December 2nd is just to allow students to ensure that all their documents are submitted by the early consideration deadline for step 2, okay? And if any documents are missing, those will be highlighted in your portal, and you will also be given updates about the process of your application on that portal. Yes, the video is going to be available on YouTube afterwards. Question, did you live in the dorms during your first year? If so, which one? Is it easy to make friends? Okay, so I'm a funny case. I did not live on campus during first year, but I'm 5 minutes from campus. So I love to tell people I live on campus, but I don't live on campus. Making friends in first year will be as easy as you make it. And I say that because you will have to step out of your comfort zone to initiate connections with people, okay? It is fairly easy to make friends at UTM, especially since we are a mid-sized campus. What that means is, because there are only 17,500 students here, you will run into the same set of individuals in the hallways, in the gym, in the cafeteria, and in various class sessions. And so it would be fairly easy for you to make connections. Hi, I'm Kevin Chidubem Ufamadu. Please, are there any extra or attached requirements for the Life Sciences Neuroscience undergraduate program for applicants? So just a point of note, when you apply, you're not applying to neuroscience. You're applying to the Psychological and Brain Sciences program category. You're not given the opportunity to select your program until the end of first year. So during first year, you get to explore, ensure that what you'd like to do in first year is the right fit for you and that you are interested in it. And then at the end of your first year, you get to make that decision. You will have the opportunity to choose a specialist or 2 majors or a major and 2 minors. And for the Psychological and Brain Sciences program category, under which neuroscience falls, you are only required to submit academic results. So your admission to that program category will be solely based on your academic performance. Hi, if you get admitted, do you get a schedule to go to class right away, or do you need to go to the main office? So there are several steps. So when you apply and you get an offer of admission, you will have the opportunity to attend other sessions that will talk about the first year experience, selecting courses. We have programs like Eagle Connect that will run throughout the summer program that I participated in during my first year. And those programs will teach you how to enroll in your programs or in your courses rather, and you will select those courses in the summer. Now, nobody will tell you what classes to do at what time, as in no one will set your timetable for you. That is your prerogative. So you get to schedule your classes for when you want them. U of T is all about flexibility, so it'll be all in your hands. But our offices are always here to support you, so it doesn't mean that you will have to figure it out on your own. Okay, just wrapping up our final set of questions. Since it is isolated, how far is it from other infrastructure? Also, are there dorms or living accommodations close by? So yeah, the dorms are on campus. They are also a part of the isolated campus landscape. There are malls in close proximity to campus that you can access via the MyWay bus, or you can walk, or you can cycle. We also have, so it's self-contained, it's not isolated. So it's not located in some far distant land and separated from everything. So this campus, it's close to many vibrant neighborhoods. It's close to many areas and centers of business. And I mentioned earlier that we are also in close proximity to over 75 Fortune 500 companies. So you won't be isolated. It's a self-contained campus in that it's not located in the middle of the city like our St. George campus. And yes, dorms are a stone throw away. And just going back to that last question, something I want to highlight. So the city of Toronto is also super accessible for students. The reason for that is because UTM has a designated shuttle bus that takes students from UTM to St. George and back. That is free for all UTM students. And when you visit the city, you can visit movie theaters, you can go to various restaurants, you can hang out on our St. George campus, visit our libraries. So you will have access to all the amazing things that the city of Mississauga and the Greater Toronto area has to offer. We are also close to a major transit station, the Clarkson GO station, that will also provide other means of transporting to more distant regions. What major did you graduate from, and what was your challenge during your studies? Okay, I think I want to save that one for last. So I'll answer the one about computer science, and then I'll return to that question. Does the computer science program offer a co-op option also? What is the employment rate for CS graduates last year? So if you go on the website and search up that, last question, if you go on Google and ask about U of T's employability rate for computer science students specifically, then you would be able to find that information. I honestly don't have the figure off the top of my head. So you can go to the UTM co-op page where we outline various statistics for our students who participate in the program. So computer science, yes, offers co-op options, but if you're studying in a program that does not offer co-op, that does not mean that you wouldn't have access to various experiential learning or hands-on learning experiences. We have a designated experiential education unit, which ensures that students are learning transferable skills that they are able to apply as they venture into the working world. And you can also create your own co-op experience. And if you choose to do that, we will be right there to support you. And for final question of the night, I'll probably take a little while to respond to this one. What major did you graduate from, and what was your challenge during your study? So during my undergrad, I focused on two majors. So I graduated with an honors Bachelor of Science with a double major in chemistry and biology for health sciences. Now, I mentioned earlier that I started out in the forensic sciences stream. My interest was in forensic biology specialist, but by the end of my first year, I was having a conversation with my forensic science teacher, and she asked about my future endeavors. I explained to her that my goals were to pursue medicine, and in her wisdom, she advised that I do something that is more general in biology and chemistry. And so I opted to change my program. I had a number of different challenges throughout my undergrad, but I was never alone. I remember during the first semester, we're all online. I was home for most of the time, and it was really difficult. I had just moved from Jamaica. I didn't have a social community. Even though I was living with my mom and brother, it was still hard transitioning to life in Canada and life as a U of T student. But I accessed the various programs and supports that were offered through the Health and Counseling Center. Through that center, I was able to participate in a workshop that exposed me to yoga and meditation. Yoga and meditation helped me not only ensure that I was in good physical health, but it helped ensure that my mental health was also in a good place. I have also used my yoga and meditation experience throughout my various fitness classes, and today I continue to practice those two key tools that were taught to me by the HCC because they helped me through one of the most difficult points of my undergraduate experience. This concludes the end of our session for today. I want to thank you for taking the time to interact with us. I want to congratulate you on interacting with each other in the chat. I hope that when you come to UTM, you'd be able to put faces to names that you've met today. And I trust that this session has helped to pique your interest in UTM and that you are excited to join our UTM community and our wider U of T community. From Toronto, Canada, Mississauga, I wish you a good evening.